Now, this cell was not used as a medical facility, but we have taken equipment that was here when it closed to put it into this cell to depict the fact that nursing staff were on site 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
That's fine.
Oh, what about this?
The arrow on the ceiling, as you go in and out of the cell, as you can see, actually points to Mecca.
Ah,
So,
just like Qibla.
so Muslim detainees know which direction to face for prayers.
Yeah.
Let us assume that you are not going to be hung. Therefore, you may get something called 10 lashes of the birch. This picture on this storyboard is actually part of a photograph and that is the main entrance, the old main entrance to Windsor Green Prison. But she was an evident protester about capital punishment. She wanted it stopped. Prior to scenes like this, hangings were public events. So, just to explain why we're standing in a stairwell, these originally would have been cells. In order to make the building compliant with today's requirements for disabled access, etc., etc., we have taken out 18 cells in total, that's 9 on each side of the building, to create 2 new stairwells. This particular one has street level access on the ground floor, and the stairwell across the other side actually has a lift that goes between all 3 levels, so it's fully building compliant with disability access. The building itself is grade 2 listed, so we can't do anything to the exterior without planning permission. But we can make changes to the inside. So here we have an example of a police call box. Now this would be where, when you book on duty, let's say at 6 AM at your police station, as a PC, your sergeant will tell you that he wants to meet you at 10 o'clock on the corner of whatever roads at the police box for an update. That was their original purpose. Okay? So inside the box itself, Doctor Who, we have a writing slope where the PC could get and write his notes for when he meets his sergeant or inspector. If you, as a PC, are not here when the sergeant expects you to be at 10 AM, you are going to get told off. In latter years, they became equipped with a telephone. Not like a mobile phone, absolutely nothing like it. Now, if you...
How would deaf be able to access that with a telephone? What about deaf people?
I don't know the answer to that. I can only be honest. I would suspect that hadn't been thought of potentially. So what would happen? So you see something happening in your street, possibly your neighbour's house being burgled. You would go to the nearest police call box, which now has a phone in. You lift up the receiver and it connects you to the police station. This is where it all gets a bit complicated by today's standards, because whoever's at the police station, let's say the desk sergeant,
The number.
yeah, it's on the dial. Let's say it's the desk sergeant. He will take the call, or a PC if it's on he or she's on the desk, will take the call, pass it to the sergeant, who will then get in the only car the police station has, and it was always a sergeant's or an inspector's car. He will drive to the beat where that PC is covering for that offence, find the PC and instruct the PC to go and deal with it. That would not happen now, because whoever gets the message over the radio goes and deals with it. You don't need to go through a chain of command to get to it. But this particular police box was a Coventry City police box prior to amalgamation in 1974 into West Midlands Police. When they were taken out of use in Coventry, they were sold off for £1. A gentleman in Coventry bought it as a playhouse for his young children. And when he found out that we were opening the museum here, yeah,
Now, so that would be really expensive now. It's quite old, isn't it? If that
it is quite old, but is it worth a lot of money? Effectively, it's just a piece of timber. It's a piece of social history. What happened then was that the person who owned it at the time, when they found out we were opening the museum here, offered us this for free. His children grown up, no further use. So we have recovered it, and it was in a bit of a poor state, and it's not complete because the door is missing. And we rebuilt it here and repainted it as part of our exhibits. The top floor, we talk about roads policing. So that's traffic police, as you'll more commonly know them. So the first thing you see, very dominant, are two old motorbikes. They are both original ex-West Midlands Police motorbikes. They will never run again because their engines are seized. But a fantastic piece of display equipment that is historical to the force. In the cell behind you, T1, is information about roads policing and the level that the force will go to. So on the bench you will see an early stinger.
like a little mic, is it? Like mics that just talk through.
They're actually breathalyzers for testing where the drivers are above the legal limit to drive through alcohol. So you've also got a stinger on the bench. That's a device that is thrown across the road to puncture vehicles' tyres to make them...
Yes, yeah, and just explaining that.
Yeah, no, that's fine. It is an old version. The newer versions are much narrower and lighter in weight. But the very new version is actually remote control, so you don't have to put yourself in harm's way. It also talks on the right-hand side about the legal requirement for children in cars, whether they need booster seats, they need proper child baby seats. And that is one of the things that we do here is educate people. As part of that education process, Mondays and Tuesdays we dedicate to school groups, but we will take school groups through any day of the week, from primary school to university level. On the back wall, you can look at these when you wander around yourself shortly. There are examples of old police vehicles from back in the days when I was a child in that particular case. However, my favourite picture is that one of the Range Rover. And this is what that Range Rover now looks like. We own the vehicle and we are hoping to get it restored and actually use it as a museum exhibit on our outreach projects. All I need is plenty of money. So in here we have some more. Parts won't be the issue, it's the funding of it, it's the issue. Now, in this cell, it's going to be difficult for all of you to see it all at once. We have a police motorbike and something we affectionately call Roger the safety car. Okay? The police motorbike is affectionately known as a noddy bike. The reason for that is if a policey was out on patrol on his motorbike and his inspector or sergeant came the opposite direction, if you were on foot, you would have to salute. Because you're on a motorbike, you have to be in full control, so both hands have to be on the handlebars. Unable to salute. So what you did was you nodded. Hence it became known as a noddy bike. Now, again, when you look in the cell, it's very difficult because we don't actually let people physically go in the cell. You will see Roger the safety car. Now, Roger the safety car was brought in the late 90s, and is a remote control car that was taken into primary schools to educate young children about road safety. Now, when we acquired when we acquired him, he was non-working, but one of our volunteers, who is electronically minded, contacted the original manufacturers in America. She had the parts imported into the UK, and it now has been restored and is fully working, and as recent as early this year has been back in primary schools in the Wolverhampton area. We will take him out to various police events because it's a great crowd puller, and to deliver a message regarding safety. It engages children. Again, as part of our remit, educational. Reflecting history. This one particularly reflects those police officers in Birmingham where if you were visiting and you had a grandfather or a great-grandfather that may have been a Birmingham police officer, you could look it up and see if their name's there. If their name's there, the potential is we've got their service record. So we go back a long way with history. This cabinet, there is a display of items across the decades. So this cell here, T9, that represents modern day policing. So you will see in there is a torso mannequin showing the stab vest with the equipment attached. And then it shows images and describes things like the control room and how systems actually work.